For some of you that are not understanding the other video that I had posted, how God was saying to stop praying for certain enemies in the sense of, them having peace and stuff like that, but and more so praying for their salvation and that their heart will be yielding onto him. So to be more specific, if this message is for you, you're going to know. You're going to feel it in your spirit. And for whoever this is for, you have been praying for these people for a long time. So granted, sometimes God can have you to continue to pray for these certain particular people, but then these couple of people over here, he can tell you to stop praying for these people and pray for their salvation, if that makes sense. God says in his word, yes, to pray for our enemies, and we are to love them and we are to serve them. Yes. This word is not talking about to stop praying for your enemies altogether. It's specific people. If God has laid it on your heart, or if he has given you dreams about particular people, is what I'm talking about. Particular people. If he's told you to stop doing something and to shift your prayers for their salvation, do that. But I'm saying then there's another batch that God can have. Okay, these are enemies at your job, school, whatever. He can still have you praying for these people. So if that makes sense, God still wants you to pray for your enemies, but you have to know the difference. And if God has told you, hey, pray for your enemies, then this word is probably not for you. Or you're probably still in that cycle of he's having you to pray and to intercede for them. So again, if this word is for you, you're going to know because it's going to be confirmation from God. If you are getting from the Father to continue to pray for your enemies, this message is probably not for you, okay? For those that have been going through and that have really been seeking God about these people and that really have been going through, and God has told you to shift your prayers for these people or to stop praying for them in a particular way, you are going to know this word is for you. Again, God says in his word to pray for your enemies and to bless them. This sometimes almost is for specific people, and that's what you have to understand. God still wants you to pray for your enemies, but specifically, if he says for specific people to stop praying for them in a particular way that you have been praying for them and to shift for their salvation because they will not turn, their hearts are wicked, then there you go. And in many instances that you are praying for these enemies that you have, everyone has a choice, and many of them can be turned by your prayers. So they ultimately have a choice, and many can, all of them, warning has come before destruction. So God has warned them, they have showed them, and they have been in a situation where they knew and they know who God is. So this is not a thing to where they're oblivious to what God is saying and what God is not saying for them to do. So if they have been persecuting you or someone else, they're not oblivious to, oh my gosh, I didn't know. They know. This is what you have to understand. They know exactly what they're doing. They know exactly what they're doing because they're thinking it in their head, and then they are allowing it to get in their hearts. And then once it gets into their heart, they have to carry it out. So a lot of them are premeditating on doing things to other people, to harm other people, to come against people, to speak word curses, things like that. So remember, and to continue to take every word back to God. If this does not resonate with you, this is not your word, okay?